Welcome to Rainy Nights, the segment of my YouTube channel where I interview other moto vloggers and motorcycle personalities. If you haven't been here before, I'm Rainy Rider. I ride a BMW Grand America and a Harley Sportster. Free to give the channel a like and a subscribe. Tonight we have TIFFBON2WHEELS. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany Brantley. I'm also known as TIFFBON2WHEELS on YouTube, and I look forward to all the questions you guys may have tonight.
All right, so let's jump right into it. So where are you from and what do you ride? Half that's probably evident just from looking at you. I think your shirt gives it away.
Yeah, I'm from North Carolina, and I currently ride a 2024 Indian Chieftain.
All right, so how long you been riding?
I've been riding right around 2.5 years. Um, I started on a boulevard and I've worked my way up to the Chieftain over the past couple years.
All right, I see in the audience tonight we have Journey of Jerry and Buck Brown, who will be very excited that you ride an Indian.
Yes, he is.
So anybody in the audience, if you got some questions, throw them in the comments. Post them with at Rainy Rider, where I'll see them pop up on my feed, and I will ask her any questions within reason that you post.
Thank you everybody for joining.
All right, so from the Carolinas.
Yes.
So Carolina, you get a lot of rough weather there. Would you consider yourself a fair weather rider or a rough rider?
I would say a mix of both. If I have a choice to get out in the rain, I'm going to choose not to.
Why?
But when you're on a long distance trip, you never know what you're going to come across. So I've definitely rode in my fair share of rain.
All right. So how do you prepare for a rain? I mean, do you say, screw it, I'm just going to run through it, or do you pre-pack some rain gear, or what do you do?
Oh, I always have my rain gear. Rain gear is always on the bike. My Rain X is always on the bike for my helmet. I think those are two must-haves if you're going to ride in the rain.
I just discovered the benefits of Rain X on my windshield. I obviously ride in anything, and it never bothered me before because I had a shield lower than my eyes. My windshield was lower than my actual eyes on the road. And then I moved up to a Pug fairing shield, and it actually is above my eyes now. Now I realize that the fairing and their windshield hold a lot of rain. So I've been using the Rain X, and it's absolutely fantastic, and I do use it on the helmet too. So bravo Zulu. I think Jacob from State Farm gave me that one, so good on him. Hopefully he'll jump in tonight.
I think that's one of the best inventions ever.
Oh yeah. So how did you get into motorcycles? Did you just wake up one day and say, I'm going to go buy an Indian Chief?
I did not. So I've always been a backpacker, even as a young girl. And one day one of my coworkers looked at me and said, have you ever thought about riding your own? And I was like, no. And it was about 2 days later I had the Boulevard.
So you started on a Boulevard, what size?
750.
Well, so that's not chump change. So
right.
That's all right. Paul Beardsley and Serenity Kitty have stepped in. Welcome, guys. So give me your transition. How did you start? What you started on, and what you're into now?
So I had absolutely no clue how to ride when I first started. I didn't know how to balance it. I didn't know how to keep it up. I didn't know how to do anything. So I started from 100% scratch. I rode the Boulevard for about 6 months probably. And then I upgraded to an Indian Roadmaster. And I put about 13,000 miles on my Roadmaster, riding it towards Colorado. And then I bought the Chieftain in Colorado and rode it back home.
That Roadmaster is not chump change either, so you should never ask a lady this, but you're not a big girl. But you ride the hell out of them bikes. So So what made you decide to go big? Go big or go home? Is that what you said? You just said if I can't do it on this, I just what's it worth?
Yeah. I want to do a lot of tours, and I feel like in order to do those tours, you need a bike that you're going to be comfortable on and has the ability to climb pretty much anything. So that's why I went with the big old girl.
She is a big old girl. I feel you. My girl's a big old girl too, and I love her because she has all the power.
Yeah.
Bleak Rides, welcome in. Another one of my favorite guys. I've had Bleak ride. I have had Bleak on my channel a lot. He's a wealth of knowledge, and also a very good friend. So welcome in. Buck too. You know what? Buck's a good friend too. We'll do anything for him. Buck has slept on my spare in my spare bed a few times. So been to my house, ate burgers with him. I love all these guys. They're like family. So thanks for coming in, guys. Let's not make them about me. Let's make it about you. So, what inspires you to ride? What makes you go, I'm going to go riding today?
I would say it's the freedom of being on the bike. It always brings some mental clarity, and just the sights that you see when you're out on the bike is amazing.
So, all right. Would you rather I've seen you in some group rides. Would you rather a solo ride or a group ride?
I am definitely a group ride person. I choose my groups very carefully, though.
I'm with you on that. So Buck says, I keep thinking I've interviewed Buck because I've had him on the channel so many times. Buck, if we've never done a formal interview, a full on, maybe we haven't.
Sounds like it's gonna be his turn next.
I think so. I gotta get. You know what? He drives so much. I think the first few times I tried to interview him, he was riding or driving, and then he's just been on the channel so many times. On the Friday night with friends, I just thought I'd already interviewed him. I gotta get him in then. So I guess that's in the works.
All right, sounds good. Look
All
forward to it.
So what is your favorite moto meetup? Do you have moto meetups you go to? Do you have the Wednesday night bike nights? Do you have a place you go every year?
No. I've been to a couple bike nights, but my main thing is just getting out and riding. It's not really a meetup.
Okay, fair. So do you do ride outs where you go, hey, let's all go out for pie, let's ride and go somewhere?
Yeah, the group that I ride with typically will get up and ride to breakfast or choose to ride to the beach or things like that.
All right, so if I was to come visit you and I said, Tiff B, I'm coming out to your place, bring me somewhere cool, where would we go?
That's a good question.
Here's an easier question. Will we go out for pie or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Yeah. I like pie, don't get me wrong. Ice cream's good.
I would probably say right up towards the mountains, probably.
Okay, I can't beat that. All right, so you've never been to any meetups. You've never been to...
I've been to the Outer Banks bike rally, but here locally, I've been to one bike night, and that was about it.
Okay, you just went to Outer Banks, right? That wasn't. I think I saw that in your grams. It was in your grams.
Yeah.
All right, so here we get into the personal information. If you don't want to share, that's fine. We don't want to embarrass you here. What's the stupidest thing you've ever done on a motorcycle?
I would say it was when I laid down the boulevard. I thought I knew what I was doing when I was going into turns and curves, and I didn't. And I ended up letting the bike go, and I just rolled, and I got up, and I was so disappointed at myself when I got up.
Was that the first time you laid a bike down?
It was.
Humbling experience. That's when you learn, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Teach me, Obi-Wan. And then you start really trying to learn. So that's actually a good thing. Every person out there, obviously everybody in this group has laid a bike down at least once, dropped the bike. and most of them in
I'm,
just the strangest places. Not in 55, 60 mile an hour curves. They've laid them down in parking lots, laid them down in 50 mile an hour hairpins, and that's why practice is so important. So nothing to be
I've,
ashamed of there. Just
I've definitely had my share of drops and some pretty good doozies too.
T-Bone, rolling with T-Bone, welcome in. But T-Bone says she needs to take you to the Highlands, North Carolina. You know where that's
Okay,
at?
I do not.
Well, T-Bone, I guess you're going to be it. I got to see you instead. Sick bastard, welcome in. All right, flip side of that, what's the scariest moment you've ever had on a motorcycle?
I've had a couple. I would say most recent scariest thing was on the way back from Texas. It was raining, it was nighttime, and a truck had came off of the exit merging onto the highway, and I thought he'd seen me because he kind of looked like he seen me, and then he just cut over in front of me, and I had to lock my brakes up to keep from hitting the bumper of his truck.
Okay. So while we're on that subject, there's a lot of technical in and outs on braking and how you brake. What is your theory on braking? Back brake, front brake, split it up, downshift, and all back
uh,
brake. What's your deal?
I definitely go rear brake first. And I always make sure that my bars are straight before I hit that front brake. But in this instance, it was both brakes were applied and I locked up the back brake.
All right. Tiff B. If somebody can put Tiff B's channel in the link, if not, if we can't get to it now, I'll post it in the comments after. But if somebody can get that link, drop it down in the bottom, and we will get you hooked right up. Did you get any? You were on with us Friday night. Did you get any follows out on Friday night?
I did. I got 4 or 5, I think, just from joining on Friday night.
Cool. Up. So we'll make sure you put your channel in the bottom there in the comments. And you
Okay.
got to be a moderator. Any of you moderators, if you can look those up and drop them in the comments, that'd be great. If not, I'll just post it afterwards. All right. What else we got now? Where were we? Oh, so what has been your favorite part of writing?
I would say the sites that I've seen and the great people that I've met on every trip that I've taken so far. I think the motorcycle community is amazing. We all have something in common. We all have a common love for motorcycles, and it just makes the camaraderie great. Honestly,
What's the coolest place you've been so far?
ooh, that's tough. I'm going to say Sturgis probably was the coolest place I've been so far.
So where'd you go on Stardust? What did you want to see before you went, and what did you see while you were there, and what do you think you should have saw afterwards that you didn't get to see? Totally loaded
Um,
question, loaded for bear. Ready, go.
Right. So needles was amazing. It definitely challenges your skills. But I would like to do it again, and I don't feel like I would be as nervous doing it a second time. Um, One thing that I wish I would have seen would have been Deadwood, probably, and the Badlands.
Okay, Ghost, welcome in. So what was your perception before you went to Sturgis, and what was your perception after Sturgis?
So I'm going to clarify. I didn't actually go to the rally.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that I was able to do the ride and see the sights around South Dakota. And I know that it's really hard to do that if the rally is going on because there's just so many people. Um, I would ultimately opt to do it the exact same way again. Um, but I would probably spend more time on the site um, and actually maybe a day per each ride or something like that, just to be able to actually enjoy the sites a little more.
Okay, I can get behind that. I'm the same way. I wouldn't want to go during um, the season because there's too many
Yeah.
canned riders there. You know,
Yeah.
nothing against Dennis riding, motorcycles and stuff, but I'd want to go where I can see the stuff, not have the experience. I want the experience
Right.
of riding through Needles and seeing Mount Rushmore and going to the Buffalo Chip, but I don't want the experience of being there with a bunch of guys who this is the only time they ride more than 100 miles, at a time is going to Sturgis. You get too many canned bikers there.
Yeah.
Pull tab, pour out biker. I just don't want to
Exactly.
do that. So I'd
I
be with.
agree.
I'm right there with you. I do not want to go during Sturgis week, bike week. I get it. So, what has been the most frustrating part of riding for you?
I would say slow skills. Parking has been difficult at some point. Um, it's not that I can't do it. I just typically get into my head when I go to do it. I overthink it.
Here's again the best thing anyone's ever told me: get out of your head.
Yep.
If you get inside your own head, you'll lose every time because you're dealing with someone that you don't know how to deal with. I'm much better at solving other people's problems than my own. So,
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
all right. So the first part of this was brought to you by Indy Ridge. Second part of the show brought to you by Law Tigers. How you like that?
Right.
All right. Good friend of mine is the Law Tigers representative in Mississippi. So Colleen, shout out to you. And thanks for all the cool stuff you gave me to give away. By the way, I have a Law Tigers kickstand. Can we see that?
Yep.
Trust me, it says Law Tigers. So we're giving this away tonight. Tiff B is going to ask a question that only she knows that she talked about during this episode at the end. And anybody that answers her question gets the kickstand plate. Does that sound fair? Sounds
Yep.
fair to me. All right, so here we are. We're into May now? We just got into May. What's your plans for the year? What do you want to do this year? Riding season is just getting off the ground.
I have a whole bucket list of things that I want to do this year. But I also have a lot of big life events going on this year, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to get to accomplish this year as far as motorcycle rides go. I just kind of am just letting it play out.
Fair. Any plans at all so far? What's on your bucket? What's on your bucket list?
I don't even have anything scheduled 100% other than Myrtle Beach. Um, Probably a turn and burn to Myrtle Beach this bike week.
Cool. As you guys probably have noticed, I'm not able to wear my earbuds because the jack stopped working on my computer like 5 minutes before we got on. So I hope I'm not having too much echo in you guys. Let me know if I am. Oh, I won't be able to fix it, but let me know if I am. I don't know what that accomplishes, but at least I'm trying, right? All right. So if somebody came to you and said, "I want to get into motorcycling. I just finished my MSF course. I'm really good at riding this 250. Somebody convinced me to buy. What do I need to get now? I want to be. I think I'm a good rider now. I think I want to get on the highway. What should I buy?" What would you tell them?
I would say it would depend on your comfort level. I would probably tell them to go to multiple dealerships, whether it be Indian or Harley, and sit on every bike and whatever feels comfortable to you, go for it. Ultimately, you're the one that's going to be riding it, so you got to make that choice. Somebody can't really tell you what bike to buy.
I tell everybody before you buy a bike, put your butt in it.
Yeah,
Your butt will immediately tell you if it's a good bike. If your
yeah,
butt tells you it's scary, if your butt tells you it's too small, listen to your butt. There's more to flying by the seat of your pants, and that's a phrase old phrase from pilots World War II to tell how much G's they could pull before they would pass out, or if they were going to hit the ground. It's like fly by the seat of your pants. Your pressure on your butt inside the plane will tell you if you're doing good or not. So
yeah.
listen to your butt, especially in terms of how quick you need to drive home. Buck says Little Sturgis is coming up. True story. So Little Sturgis is south of me in Mississippi, about 3 hours south, about halfway down Mississippi. It's the third weekend of August. I will warn you in advance, it's very hot. However, you're more than welcome to come. I have this will be my third time to go, so it's a long running rally. It's been going on now for I think 20 years. They had to skip a few years, but they're trying to get it back off the ground now. So third weekend in August. Like I said, it's pretty hot, but it's an excellent place, excellent entertainment, lots of refreshments there. We like to bring our own beer. We stay in tents. They have an RV camp out place where you can put an RV. Starkville is right down the road, about 20 minutes. You can stay in a hotel and then ride out to it, however you want to do it. But I highly encourage you to go because it's a must do event. It's a must have event. So, what do you think? Have I talked you
I
into it
will
yet?
definitely keep that in mind.
You said your schedule's open. You told me I'm not doing nothing this year. I ain't doing nothing. No plans. Where do I need to be?
That August is my favorite month. That's my birthday month, and
Come on. Happy birthday. Come on down. I can buy you a cake. It might be really small, but come on. Let's go. You will love it. They put a lot into it. They have nighttime performances. They have daytime rides. They have a huge field and with a lot of shade trees that you can put your tents under in the daytime. In the morning, it's pretty hot. The sun comes from a weird direction. But by the time the day rolls around, lots of food trucks, lots of entertainment, lots of vendors, and there's lots of shade trees. You can always get under a shade tree. So it's a little small town. You'll love it.
Is there a link for that event?
There is. I will drop that link in. So I've been there twice, made 2 videos. I will drop a link. Hell, I'll drop a link here, and that way you'll know exactly where to find it. So.
Okay, perfect.
And everybody's invited. Bring your own tent. BYOT or BYOCC. Bring a credit card. Stay in a hotel.
I think I'm going to be a little bougie if I come. I'm staying in a hotel.
You can stay in a hotel. That's fine. And then tell us where it's at. And if it gets too hot, we'll just not go to your hotel. I think my wife said she's staying in a hotel this time too. So we'll try to all get in the hotel. Yeah. So I've gone. I went once and made it a day trip. Stayed all day. The second time I went, stayed in a tent. And stayed the entire weekend, me and Jake from State Farm. And then this time I was going to stay in a tent, and I think my wife decided she wants to go. So if she stays, we'll obviously have a hotel room too. But man, I like going to events and staying in a tent because I'm right there. And then when I get drunk, I can stumble right to my tent and fall down.
Crawl in.
So, but if she comes, I can bring the Sportster. She can stay in the hotel. She can go in the car and stay in the hotel. Then I can bring the Sportster and just pass out at the campground. It works. It works for me. I'm for this. All right. So what's going on in the comments? Let's see. Buck talked about Little Sturgis. Rolling with T-Bone says the butts are very smart and the butt knows. I get it. Thinking the choice of shirts, our hosts and guests are prearranged. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. I just noticed that. I'm wearing my Harley shirt. You got your Indian shirt. We're rolling. I'm good with this. Let's see. Journey of Jerry says only one of them is wrong, and I know Jerry's a Harley guy. Well, he's also a Honda guy. So since neither one of us have a Honda shirt, it must be me that's right. I'm just gonna no.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I love Polaris. I've had a Victory Gunner. It was one of my favorite bikes I've ever owned. The only reason I gave it up was because somebody needed it more than me, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
A guy that I love and treasure needed it in a time of need, and so I sold it to him for a pretty good deal.
That's awesome.
All right, and Buck said he's bringing his camper, so we might be saved yet. We'll put all the ice chests in Buck's camper. All right, where are we to next? Are we still talking about? So you're gonna go, right? You're gonna go stay in a hotel. It'll be fun.
I will put it on the list.
I'll bring the beer. All right. So if you could go anywhere on a motorcycle today, start anywhere, end anywhere on any motorcycle you want, where would it be and what would you ride?
I would do East Coast to West Coast, and come back, of course. And I would ultimately choose my bike. I've got it set up just the way I want it, and she's amazing.
Okay, this is a difficult question. You ready? You ready?
Go ahead.
Which route would you choose? Would you choose the southern route, go I-10 all the way? Would you use the center route and go Route 66? Or would you choose Northern Highway and skirt the Canadian border the whole way?
I'm a fan of route. I don't like taking the same route twice. if I can avoid it. So I would probably do the northern route, going across the Canada border, and then come back the southern route.
So you've done Route 66.
I have not.
You haven't. So you're gonna take the long loop, the long loop,
The long
the
loop.
long loop. That is the long loop. Absolutely. Would you do the detour and go down to Key West while you're making that long loop? Although you'd have to
Sure,
ride
why
70
not?
75 both ways up and down. There's not much loop there, but
Uh, I would like to see Key West at some point. So,
I've seen a lot of people go, and the Key West Bridge absolutely cool. I want to ride it. Even going through Florida when you go across, I think it's called the Grundy Bridge. That's absolutely cool. But then when you get down to Key West, it's so crowded there and it's so commercial. I know people that went down
mhm.
there and were going to stay in hotels and eat. When they got there, it's like can't afford to eat or shit or sleep here, so let's hit the road. So
Let's go back to Florida though.
headed back up, yeah. But it's one of those like once in a lifetime things. No matter how much it costs, no matter how much you'd have to go to say you just did it once.
Yep, you just got to do it.
Absolutely. All right, throw some comments in the comments. Throw some comments in the comments. Throw me some questions. Let's see what we got going on here. Buck says, "Is there any chance of you spilling the beans on modifications you've done or are going to do on your channel?"
No, I haven't even thought about a video about that, honestly. Thanks for that idea though, but
I'm doing it, and so far people are telling me it's the coolest thing, and they want to see all this stuff. I'm bringing a motorcycle back from the dead. So a friend of ours does a series called Ran When Parked, and he takes bikes he's bought on Facebook or the Greg list, and he fixes them up and gets them running. Well, I have a bike somebody gave me that was a wrecked race bike. It was a 650R, and so I'm calling my series Ran When Wrecked. And I'm gonna bring it up from the dead and try to. It's a trashed. I don't know if you've seen it on my Instagram, but it's a trashed out bike. The frame is
oh
great.
wow.
The engine's great. That's about it. The tires are trashed. The brakes are trashed. The fairing's trashed. The lights are trashed. Handlebars are pretty straight, I think. I might once I
You
put a new
think?
fairing on it, I might find out the handlebars are not straight. You can't tell because the fairing is so wonky. But absolutely, it makes such a great video. The stuff I've done to the motorcycle, even like changing the oil and stuff. I saw you change your oil the other day, but it was like you showed part of it. You didn't jump
Yeah.
in with both feet.
So there is actually a video of me changing the oil that I had done prior to that. Sure.
Okay, so we just got to dig back further. Those are some of my best. The videos where I change the oil, change the brakes, change the tire, plug the tire, anything mechanical that I do on a bike. Those are my most viewed videos because people look at them and go, "Well, I've never changed oil on my bike. Here, let me Google this real quick. Google, change oil in a Sportster, changes, oil in how do I check the oil in the primary? How do I change oil on a BMW K16? How do I plug a tire? How do I change the brakes?" And those are my biggest the biggest video I have is something that people say it's impossible to do. I reset the service timer and I reset the fault on my K16. And before I
Mm.
did that, everybody was saying you got to bring it to BMW for that. BMW won't let you do it. It's a locked software. You can't get in. I bought a $35 OBDMX on Amazon, and I bought an $8 program from BMW, and I can reset my own service timer, my trip timer, my oil change lights, everything. I've even
Yeah.
reset all my codes, and I've gone in and found codes, and now that's one of my most watched videos. And I still get requests from people. "Hey, I see you're driving, BMW. Can you tell me how to do this? I see you've done that." And I was like, "Yes, I can." So awesomeness. I say do it. Anytime you do something to that bike, I don't care if it's just putting air in the tire. Video it because people want to see that.
Record it.
Definitely when you
Okay.
bring it in and talk to the service, even if you don't change your own tires, bring it into the service team and just get a little video of them, working over the bike. People love to see that stuff. Absolutely
Okay.
nuts.
Thank you for all the info.
Tunes and Throttles, welcome in, buddy. Nice to see you. First time I met him, he was drunk. We won't talk about that. He was real drunk, but we're not going to talk about it. He was so drunk he couldn't stand up, but we're not going to talk about it. Anyway. What's next? So you'd ride your own bike. If you didn't ride your own bike, which bike would you ride?
If I didn't ride my own bike,
Another one
I
just like
think
it.
I would. Yeah, I I test rode Harleys at some of the demo events. I am 5'1", and on a stock CVO street glide, there's no reason why my leg should be bent over the brake. It
So
was just the most uncomfortable ride I have ever taken.
so CVO Road Glide,
The street glide.
Street Glide.
Yeah.
I still can't get my head around CVOs. You're still getting old technology at 3 times the price. I don't understand it. And even the guys up at the place I go to, it's the same bike. The only thing you're getting on a CVO is you're getting next year's new parts if there are any, and then a super expensive paint job.
Yeah.
So I don't. You're not really getting a custom vehicle. You're getting next year's experimental parts. But you spend so much money on the bike that you really can't afford to ride it. So most people that don't have CVOs that ride them, the bike is like 3 or 4 years old and they bought it used. So anyway, we want to run down Harley because it's too big a target. It's too big a target.
Everybody rides down.
All right. Have you inspired anyone to ride or wrench on their own motorcycle?
Not particularly. I will say that I do try to always encourage women to get out and attempt to ride their own. And they may fall in love with it, and then they may not. And that's okay.
I think that's true for everybody. I've heard guys say, "I want a motorcycle," and "I want a motorcycle." Well, again, that's where most people get their really cheap motorcycles from. From that guy that says, "I want a motorcycle, and I want the best one, and I want the bigger one." CVO, $50,000. I got that money. And then they take it out and they drop it and they scratch that $30,000 paint job, and then they go, "I'll just sell it for $20,000 and nobody will know. I won't tell my wife." And you get a cheap bike.
I will say for women getting into motorcycling, I feel like if your children are young, it creates a lot more hesitation than it would for a male. I honestly don't know that I would be riding right now if my kids were small.
As weird as it sounds, I've heard people say, it's okay for dad to ride the motorcycle because if he gets hurt, that's a huge insurance payout. But if mom gets injured, who's going to take care of the kids? My own wife. So when she saw the women's power, shuttle go up the giant dildo, she was like, "Why is she going up?" Talking about Katy Perry. She just had a baby. Why is she going up in that plane? That's so stupid of her. She can leave those kids orphans. He's like, "Well, they still have a dad." "Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They need their mom." Okay, I get it. Okay, fine, whatever. Christian Biker, welcome in. I forgot to say hello to you. What was that?
I said, women hold it down. That's all I can say.
Women hold down the home. That's absolutely true. So yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, throw your questions in the comments. We're still waiting for some good questions. Let me check the comments real quick. Let's see if anything's in here.
Okay.
No, Buck's talking about Reese's Cups. Okay, let's move on to something else. Buck likes his Reese's Cups.
Okay.
When you see the interview, I'm gonna run a counter on the side, counting how many Reese's Cups he eats during the interview. All right. If you could tell a new rider one thing you had to learn the hard way, what would it be? Conversations with your 13-year-old self. Go.
Trust the technique. If you trust the technique, you're gonna succeed.
Okay. Which particular technique?
I would say just finding your friction zone and making sure that you stay in your friction zone when you're in a slow maneuvering situation.
I am trying to make. Hang on, T-Bone. I'm making you a moderator where you'll show up in blue. There we go. All right. T-Bone had a question. He said,
Okay.
"What is the longest ride so far?"
I would say the trip to South Dakota has been the longest so far. Round trip, it was close to 4,200 miles by the time we got back home.
And how long did that take you?
Oof. I want to say it was 8 or 9 days. But due to bike issues, we lost 3 or 4 days in Colorado.
What happened in Colorado? Still.
So I started out on the Roadmaster during this trip. When we got to Colorado, we parked the bike for the night, went in the hotel, came out the next day, and the bike was firing on one cylinder out of nowhere. It just so happened to be a Monday, and Indian dealerships are closed on Monday. So we ended up doing some maintenance that we thought could have been the problem. Nothing fixed it, so we limped across the street on that Tuesday, and they basically told me not to ride that bike anymore. Could have caused some serious damage and potentially caused me to wreck the bike during the trip. So I looked at them and asked them how much they would give me for it. And I left there with a brand new 24 season last
Well,
night.
that's convenient. Yep, it's broke, but we'll take it. Buy this one. Okay.
Yep.
All right. You got more questions in here? Let me see. So I asked T-Bone's question. Buck says if you don't have stickers yet, you should get them because we all swap stickers. That's how we make friends, and they're
Okay.
good for passing out at gas stations and stuff. That way, people will subscribe. Ask me how I know. Let's see.
How do you know?
Eric had a question. Let me look for Eric's question. What's the favorite bike you've ever owned?
I would say my chieftain.
What did you like about the Roadmaster? I like the look of the Roadmaster. Is it? It seems kind of squarish. Is it hard to ride? I'm asking a
It's
girl who weighs
not.
half of what I weigh if it's hard to ride.
So the chieftain and the Roadmaster are pretty much the exact same bike. It's just the Roadmaster is fully bred. Um, I ended up buying a slim pack for my Roadmaster, and I sold the King Tour pack that came on it. So my Roadmaster was more like a chieftain anyway.
Okay, fair. Let's see. Running through real quick. Did Buck have another question, or did Buck have a statement? Yep. Okay, so T-Bone missed the part where you said you talked about group rides and riding solo. Would you rather do a group ride or ride solo?
Definitely group ride, but it's a small group ride, and I am very strategic on who I ride with. I definitely have to know how they ride before I get into a group ride.
Absolutely. I don't. So what's the biggest ride you or group you feel like comfortably riding with?
I'd say 4 to 6 people probably. Um, I done the all female ride here in Raleigh last year, and there was so many people, and there was just so many different skill levels. Um, and I will probably never do another group ride again.
I don't. So there's only one group ride that I really do, and it's when I go down to Forgotten Angels. We go for the breakfast run, and
Mhm.
even that one, it's usually we do a couple of groups of like 10 people. And the last time we went, we had a ton of people go, and they all tried to go at once, and the group ended up getting split, and it got split with a person who didn't know how to ride very well, and she got left behind. So a few people backed up to get her. My one requirement on group rides is that you have a, a couple of ride captains, one in the front
Yeah.
to lead, one in the middle, and then one in the back to pick up people that are stragglers. And
Mhm.
because it gets really weird, especially with a group that doesn't ride a lot together. Because you've got
Yeah.
people that are perfect riding by themselves, and you put them in a group, and it's like a pack of dogs. Dogs are fine by themselves, but then once they get together, then they all feel braver and they do shit they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So it's you definitely have to know people to ride with them, and then I'm one of those people. If people start going crazy, me and my wife used to ride with a group in Arkansas called the Go Wing Group, and it was
Yeah.
all old people. And we're like, this will be cool. So where do y'all ride to? We ride to eat. We go for pie. We go for ice cream. Ta-da. We go for food. I said, cool. We, old people. We'll ride with these old people. Well, then we got into Crowley Ridge and the hills of Arkansas, and these people were flying. This is like 60, 70-year-old people, and they're doing 80 through these, 40-mile-an-hour curves. And I
Oh
just kept
wow.
getting further and further back. Well, they do this every day. And then when they're not
Yeah.
doing this every day, in the, they're in groups on the weekend, all riding with themselves. Be afraid of old people because they're already halfway to death and they know they're almost dead, and they're not scared of dying. They'll do stuff they shouldn't do because they're like, I've lived this long. I could die any second and I'd be okay with it. But we literally found ourselves at the back of the group because I'm like, I'm not keeping up with these people. This is crazy. They're just, I ride my own limits. So
Mhm. Yeah, I ride my ride. I'm not going to try to impress anybody. If it ain't fast enough for you, then I've got GPS and I'll get to where I need to go.
absolutely. Paul Beardenly, what's IMRG? You got to. I don't do the teen talk. The teen talk. Uh,
Indian motorcycle riding group, I think.
See, I wouldn't know. Bucks or T Bone says the older I get, the more I like solo. Yes, yes. There's times it's like I don't mind riding with people for long distances. I rode with uh, four people from Tifton, Georgia, down to Tampa. But there's a point on that you're like, okay, these people are going too slow. Slash, they're going too fast. Slash, they don't want to take breaks. Slash, so I signaled to take a break and they wouldn't get off the road. Slash, so it's like I'd just rather do my own thing, and I get it. And I know a lot of people that I watch on YouTube and our friends, and they're like that. I know one YouTuber, and we won't mention her name, but she actually got up on her video, got up early in the morning and left before everybody else, where she wouldn't have to ride with them.
Oh wow.
And I feel that. I feel it. I do. So that just tells me, and it's people she liked. It was her friends, but at the same time, she didn't like how they rode, so she just left without them.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I
Absolutely do.
I am fairly new to adventuring out on my own. Um, for me, it's kind of a safety factor of being with more than just myself. Being a female out there, and kudos to all the women who do it for real, because there's some real badasses out there that just go anywhere. I'm too little yet.
We all learn in our own time. There's no. I mean, I thoroughly encourage people to take classes and do some training and stuff. But you move through those things at your own pace. You don't get
Right.
out one day on the bike and go, I'm gonna take a 500-mile-an-hour ride today. Um, if you do, you'll regret it. Your butt is not ready for that. And listen to your butt, like everybody said. Listen to your butt.
I've done so on the way to Texas. We done it was close to 950 miles on the first day.
Now, how far into your riding journey was that?
That was the first leg. That was day one.
No, no. I mean, like, how long had you been riding when you did that trip?
Oh, that was just the beginning of April.
Okay, so you've been riding for a while before you did that trip.
Yeah, but I actually done my first long trip. I done 900 and some miles on my first long trip too, and that was about a year into riding.
Yeah, well, you don't weigh much. That wouldn't hurt too bad. No, that's still pretty hard on the hips, and especially for a little girl. Was that the road glide or the roadmaster, or was
That
that
was
the?
actually the Roadmaster.
That's a lot to wrap your legs around for 950 miles.
all 900 pounds of her.
That's a big girl. All right, so Buck is asking, how many and what upgrades have you done to your Indian?
So I really haven't done a lot of upgrades to this bike. When I bought the bike, they transferred all the upgrades from my Roadmaster to this one. So I got the Lloyd cam. I did put cams on her. She's got the upgraded air intake, and I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. Um, then I put the Lloyd 5.9er bars on it. And that's all the upgrades that I've done to this bike.
Okay. Are you a stickler on what goes on your bike? Does it have to all be name brand, high dollar stuff, or can you say that looks good, that looks comfortable, I'm going to get it?
No, it's more just what flows with the bike for me. My trunk is actually an aftermarket trunk. I wasn't paying $3,000 for an Indian trunk when I could pay 600.
I'm with you
So,
on that. Especially since I learned so in the Sportster. So Harley makes a fairing called Burley, and then you can get a fairing on Amazon called Krator.
mhm.
They're made in the same factory with the same molds, and they'll put out all the Burleys, and then if there's more pitch left over, if there's more bead left over, they make a bunch of Krators. And when the Burleys go out, when I bought my Krator, it came with a Burley fastener kit, Burley bolts, and Burley instructions. The difference
Mhm.
is about $300 between the Burley
Right.
fairing and the Krator fairing. Exact same fairing. So I don't know if you guys have seen all so since the tariffs have came out, the Chinese leather goods companies have been putting out videos comparing their purses to these name brand purses, and they're the same
Mhm.
purses. They make whether it's like Cole, Michael Kors, Gucci, Dolce, what's the other one? Chanel, Coach. They make them
Yeah.
all in the same factory, and they send them to companies to put their own labels on. I know
Oh,
this
wow.
because I work with a leather company, and so
Mhm.
I'm on their mailing list from all their companies and their people that try to get in as their vendors, and they're always mailing me this stuff for um, purses and suitcases and wallets and all these leather goods that there are the exact same ones that they that are for Coach and Gucci and Dolce and Michael Kors, but there's no labels on them. And they said I can get
Uh,
any label I want in these purses that are selling for $500-$600, sometimes $1,000. They sell for $15-$20, and
oh,
they'll
wow.
put my label on there. They'll make me they'll stitch me a label, put my label on that, and sell it to me for $20. I've actually thought about this. I've thought about this. This would be very cool. And to get it branded is $5 a purse. So they can actually, instead of doing a stitched label, they can put a brand
Uh-huh.
into it for $5 a piece.
Oh, wow.
So this could be so when you buy something, you're not buying a name. You're buying the exact. I guess you are just buying the name. You're buying the exact
Yeah.
same thing that they sell to everybody else for a whole lot cheaper.
Right.
So watch what you're buying. Don't be such a stickler, y'all. Don't be such a snob. Don't be a brand snob. Buy what
It ain't
works.
gonna be name
Now it has a
brand.
cool name. Absolutely. What's the other thing that everybody was buying for a long? These fairings everybody was buying and the trunks everybody was buying. I can't remember the name of them, but they've been hot for the last like 2 or 3 years.
Was it Hogwarts?
The Hogworks is the same way, but this is something else. I have a lot of friend of mine that just bought the luggage and the fairing, and I can't remember the name of this stuff. But it's really hot right now, but it's the same thing. It's Chinese manufacturer, made in a Chinese factory, and they send it to these places. And is it Black? Advan Black. Advan Black.
Oh, there you go.
The
Yeah.
exact same thing. Made in a Chinese factory. They put a label on it here somewhere. They put their own little brand on it, and bam, now it's worth $600 more.
Yeah.
Anyway, I protest too much. Let's see what's in the. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, Buck's just impressed with your modifications. Throw your questions in the comments, guys. This is going much faster than it usually does. I think because it's the middle of the week and I've been drinking lots of soda and I've had lots. Usually the Friday night ones go a lot slower because I'm tired by then, so I talk slower. You got some questions for me too, right? In reserve somewhere, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. Advan Black. Yeah, that's it. All right. Tell me one thing most people do not know about you that you're willing to share.
Ooh. Can we come back to that?
We can.
Okay.
All right. Next question would be tell us one thing that you don't want anybody to know about you. I'm just kidding. All right. We'll come back to the other question. Okay. So if you could buy any bike right now, but you had to own it for the rest of your life, you don't have to own it. You don't have to drive it every day. You have to own it for the rest of your life. What would it be? And you had to pay for it with your own money.
I would probably say a pursuit.
A Pursuit?
Yeah.
Indian. Hmm.
Yes.
Go figure.
I'm with the Indian.
Well, I see a pattern. I see a pattern. Okay. And why?
Because I feel like it's just a totally upgraded bike. It's a liquid cooled bike versus the air cooled. Um, the the ratios are different on the Pursuit than they are the TIFFBON, and I think it's just an all around fun bike.
Okay, so it's geared differently. In which way? Is it geared for power, low end power? Is it geared for?
Now you're getting too technical.
Fair enough. All right. Flip side of that question:
Okay.
what bike would you want to ride one time, just once? And when you rode it once, once you got off of it, you'd never get to ride it again. So we're talking about a bike that's either so expensive, so rare, so powerful, so scary, you could only ride it one time, and that'd be it. What would it be?
Mm, I would probably say any form of sport bike. I'm not a huge fan of sport bikes and the way that you sit on them. And then I'm short, so like me even touching the ground is almost impossible.
But sport bikes you can touch, so I mean it'd be a change for you. Cool little
So,
600 to 750.
oh no, if we're gonna do it, we going big or going home. That's my motto. Go big or go home.
Full liter.
Yeah. So just one time, just to get out on it, hit it, and never have a need to do it again.
All right. Paul Beardsley is asking, so have you joined the IMRG now that we know what it is yet? Have you joined the IMRG yet?
I have not.
Okay, fair question.
Is there a link? Is there a link for the IMRG?
Paul, is there a link for the IMRG? I have belonged to a lot of writers groups, and then I finally just decided, of course I belong to Hog. I belonged to when I had the Saber. I was in the Saber owners group. Had the vest, had the T-shirts, had the pins, had everything, had the patches, and then I was in the BMW Motorcycle Owners
Mm-hmm.
Association. And what I learned from being in all those groups is they're just not really for me. Those people,
Yeah.
like I talked about, the canned riders, is a lot of them talk a lot of smack and sit behind their keyboards, and then the ones that go on rides go once a year and all ride together and talk about what badasses they are, and then they never touch their bike again. I went to Honda Hoot one time, and this is a story I like to tell. I've told it a lot. Anybody that watches the channel knows. Um, went to the Honda Hoot with 4 friends, and was there for 3 days. And when I left after 3 days, I still knew only those 4 people. I talked to other people, but those were the only people I really knew when I left, because it was like everybody's there thumping their chest on how loud their bikes are, and talking about what badass bikers they are. And a lot of people during the weekend slid off the road, a lot of crashes, a lot of people dumping their bikes in the river. Because it's like this is the only thing they do all year is they want to go this one thing and prove that they're bikers and fail miserably at it. So
Right.
now I just hang out with people who really do ride and want to ride. No matter if they're new riders, old riders, I just want to ride with people that want to ride, and get out and do things. And so that's my thing. I
So
mean,
passionate.
and I think a lot of these owners groups, they're just so weird about how they conduct themselves and talk about everybody and talk down other groups and other bikes, and it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my preferred bikes. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just and I will pick on other people. I will. that I would never believe my bike is better than anybody else's just because it's my bike and it should be.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I was going to let you talk. Go ahead. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. The writing groups, they some of them have been together forever and they do certain things, and then there's new people that join in, and then they kind of ruin it for everybody. I personally am not a huge fan of the writing group. I kind of like to stick to my little crowd and do my own thing for the most part.
So when you ride, who do you ride with?
Um, my trainer, his wife, um, and then a couple of other people that I've met on Facebook that also write Indian.
Okay. Now, can we come back to the question now?
We can try.
Okay, here we go. If you could go anywhere, ride any bike, start anywhere, end anywhere, on any bike you want, where would you go? What would you ride?
I would still go East Coast to West Coast. And I would ride my bike. I think we did this one already.
So what bike did you? Which question did you make me spit?
It was about me. The question about me.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. We can answer that. I see that was a trick question. I wanted to see if you'd answer it the same way. Yeah, that's it. This part of the show sponsored by High Speed Industrial Equipment Company. When shit broke, we fix it. Now let's go back to it. Okay. Okay. What one thing would you not want anyone to know about? No. What one thing does no one know about you that you don't mind sharing?
One thing. This is so difficult. I'm not used to talking about myself.
You can refuse the question. That's fine. But I'm waiting for you to answer.
Yeah, let's skip that one.
You don't have to answer, but I'm waiting.
Okay. I don't have the answer.
All right. Let's see. Paul says Pursuit was his first choice, more of a modern V-twin. Rollo T-Bone said he'd never get rid of the 1948 Harley-Davidson Knucklehead to ride once the Dodge Tomahawk. Dodge Tomahawk was a very dangerous bike. I don't think it was even really a real bike. It was a display for the engine, and it did a very good job of displaying the engine. But ride it once, maybe. T-Bone also says Tomahawk or Jay Leno's Y2K. I don't know if y'all know this, though. Jay Leno has had to pay for cars before because he goes through LA and catches people's hoods on fire with the Y2K bike. That is the engine that has a helicopter jet engine on the motorcycle. Absolutely cool. Paul says I ride 70 miles to Charleston to ride with the Low Country IMRG. Our VP rides a Harley, great bunch of guys and girls, all different bikes. I'm absolutely for that. Every bike is a good bike. Don't beat any other bikes up. I love it like that.
Not unless it's in good fun, right?
Do what?
I said just if it's in good fun.
Yeah, I won't do anything mean unless it's funny. And if it's funny,
right.
Fair game.
You know, just cracking some jokes on Harley riders.
I'll crack jokes
on Indian riders in return.
Well, here's a question for you. What one bike have you rode that you would never want to get back on again?
I would say the Boulevard. It not having an overdrive, no cruise control, and then the vibration on that bike is insane.
On a Boulevard? Really?
Oh, it is horrible, especially if you're trying to ride it over 75 miles an hour. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
See, people told me about that about the Sportster too, and I discovered that the Sportster is at home above 4,000 RPM. Never get that bike below 4,000, and that bike is happy. I've got it on the highway, and I see what people are talking about when you got it in fifth gear, and you're only doing about 65 miles an hour. The bike is shaky and it vibrates a lot. Fifth gear, you get that bike up to about 80, and that bike hums out, and it's like a sewing machine. So some bikes are just more comfortable at higher RPMs or whatever their RPM
Yeah.
is. Um, and
Yeah.
it's funny what a good bike that is once you get it up around 5,000 RPM. It's like mad. It's a totally different motorcycle.
Yeah, that Boulevard scream, like it was just like it wanted to go to another gear and it didn't have one.
All right, next question. You don't want to answer
Okay.
the other question. Nothing secret about
Huh?
you. You keep your secrets. Fine, wizard, keep your secrets.
Okay.
All right, what is your toxic trait?
I would say my biggest toxic trait is probably overthinking. Um, which we talked about a little bit earlier when it comes to riding a bike. Overthinking is probably the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, okay. Get out of your own head. There you
Yeah.
go. T-Bone, we're getting to that question. That's one of the last questions. All right, what is one thing you'll never take a road trip without?
Underwear and a phone charger.
That makes sense. You pretty much, yeah, I'm with you. Socks, underwear. I can wear the same T-shirt 2 days in a row. I can wear the same pants every day on
Yeah.
the trip. I gotta need to change my underwear and socks every day, sometimes twice a day, depending on if it's raining or not. So
And how hot it is.
I just read a funny I saw a funny video of a friend of mine who went riding with a friend, and it started raining, and she wanted to stop, put on her rain gear, and her friend kept saying a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, and when they finally stopped, they ran inside. Her friend had a fresh change of clothes, underwear, bra, socks, shirt, everything, and she didn't. And so she
Oh,
went in with her rain gear, had to take all her clothes off. She was going commando, put her rain gear
oh my
on by itself to ride home because her friend wouldn't stop.
God.
And moral of that story is you stop when you feel like stopping. What do we say? Ride your own ride. If you want to stop,
Ride your own road.
stop. Don't let anyone else
Yeah.
force you to do something you're not comfortable in. Especially because somebody said on the channel before, once your crotch gets red, you're done. Your crotch gets water in it, you're done. You're miserable. You get that rain dripping down the crack of your butt, ride's over. Ride is over.
Absolutely.
So make your own self comfortable. Okay, T Bone is asking, what kind of music do you like? What do you listen to when you're riding?
I do a lot. I listen to country. I listen to hip hop. I listen to R&B soul. Um, I listen to a lot of music. My main thing is probably the R&B soul right now, like the King George and things like that.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're riding down the road.
Okay.
A song comes on. And all of a sudden you find yourself speeding. Like not like a little bit of speeding. You're going like 40 over the speed limit. What song makes you do that?
um, I oh, Highway to Hell.
Good answer. I like that. I like that. So here's a story for you. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm retired Navy.
Yeah.
Top Gun was bad enough, but on my ship, we did this thing called emergency breakaway. And when we were at special maneuvering, I was lee helm, which means I control the speed of the ship from the pilot house, next to the captain, next to the helmsman who's steering. Our breakaway song, when we played this song, we pushed the ship as fast as it would go. I'd push the throttles all the way forward. And all of a
Okay.
sudden, it was like a drag strip on the water. And we were hauling ass. And I was on a fast speed missile cruiser. I was on a guided missile cruiser. And that thing would haul ass. The song they would play
Wow.
was Danger Zone.
Okay.
And so anytime I hear Danger Zone now, I'm 5 seconds away from a speeding ticket.
You hit the throttle.
Every time. Every time. And I hear in the back of my head, this is a drill, this is a drill, emergency breakaway, all ahead, flank 3. And I'm like, oh God, I can't help myself. I'm trained. I'm a trained military man. I've got to go as fast as I can and go to jail today, right now. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right. What is your favorite motorcycle from a TV or movie series?
Um, know that I have one. Not that I know.
Not a lot of Indians in movies. You know why? They're not photogenic. They're ugly.
They are
I'm
though.
just
They
kidding.
got some sexy lines.
They're so ugly. They won't even put them in TV shows. They wouldn't even put them in Sons of Anarchy. They're so bad. God.
Did you see what they were writing?
Yeah. I make fun of the Dyna Bros. These broomstick. The funniest thing is watching these behind the scenes shots where they've got the bikes up on trailers and chocks and they're dragging them, through town filming. It's so too funny. Um, yeah. I make fun of the Dyna Bros. When everybody started wanting to get on the lowrider STs, I made fun of those because it's the lemming bikes. It's the bike everybody wants. I love Dynas. Don't get me wrong. I love Dynas and I love lowrider STs. I didn't get a lowrider ST because everybody was buying them because they were a cool thing to have at the time. And I was like, I'm not getting one of these because everybody's going to think I'm a lemming. Now that the air has blown off of the Dyna, now I'm looking for a Dyna. Now all the lemmings are all jumping on Pan Americas. It's like one of these things. Like I don't know why I want it, but I do because everybody else has one. I want one. I need one, and they can't even tell you why. It's like what? It's like when people vote Democrat. They don't know why. Somebody told me to. I got to do it. So it's one of them things. Sorry, I hope you're not a Democrat. We won't talk about it. That's your dirty secret. Oh my God! Don't tell anybody. Okay. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I've never been into Sportsters. With the same thing. I can have a Sportster now because now everybody thinks Sportsters aren't cool. Well, now I want one. I'll prove you wrong.
Dare to be different.
So there's got to be a motorcycle you've seen in a movie or a TV show that you just thought was absolutely cool.
I honestly can't think of one.
Did you ever watch the Renegade show with Lorenzo Lamas?
Not much.
He had an 83 Softail custom. Coolest bike. Sunburst paint job, was stretched out. Absolutely cool bike. And then, of course, the flip side of that, when I was growing up, the bike that made me want to get a motorcycle was Street Hawk. And they had a 1976 Honda Street Hawk. It was such a cool bike. Such a cool bike. It was the same time as Airwolf, A-Team, Street Hawk, and there was another show on that had, Knight Rider. So at that time, you had a cool van, a cool car, a cool helicopter, and a cool motorcycle.
That cool
it was
bike.
Like, now I have everything. Now I can die happy. I have everything. So, but yeah, there's some cool little things. And of course, usually people say Arnold's Fat Boy from Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm not clicking any gears for you. I'm not making you go, oh yeah, that one for me. I'm Tiff. Tiff loves that bike. Oh yeah.
Not at all.
Nothing?
No.
I'm failing here. I'm
so sorry.
So Buck says, so which bike keeps dominating the King of the Baggers? I've got a bad story for you. King of the Baggers. So BMW put forward the K16, and Honda put forth the Gullwing. And both of them were prohibited from entering because all of a sudden when they started winning all of the races, Harley said, wait, did we say baggers? We meant twins. We meant the twins. Oh, sorry guys. Oh, you really didn't win after all. So yeah, Buck, don't bring that one up. It's not a good example. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, those new Harleys, as high tech as they are, would probably still be beat by a 1981 4-cylinder K1 brick. So sorry. Still love you, Buck, but sorry. All right, let's see. What person would you like to ride with from the past or present? Could be someone who's already passed away. Could be somebody that you've never met in person before. Could be someone from your past who you can't ride with now. Who would it be?
I would say my dad. My first experience on a bike was riding on the back of his when I was a little girl. And my dad had cancer a few years back, so now his depth perception and stuff is not the same as it used to be. So he can't ride motorcycles any longer. But if I could change that, that would be the one person that I would like to ride with.
Okay. Sounds fair. You guys get any more questions, throw them down in the comment. If I've missed any of your questions, throw them down again because I did not miss it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so while we're waiting on people to chime in the comments, what questions you got for me?
Um, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but what type of advice would you give somebody that's just coming into being a YouTube content creator?
I would say make the content that you like, not the kind of stuff that people want to see. Um,
Okay.
I think the big misnomer now, when I turn on the TV and I start looking for something on YouTube, I want to see a bike review, how to work on something, a cool place to ride, or a cool place to stop and eat, or a cool place to stop and camp. I don't care about the clothes you're wearing. I don't care about the coolest, Gucci gear you've got, your $800, jacket. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think gear's your own thing. So when I turn on stuff and it's not real good stuff, like my favorite content right now is Fortnite. Because Fortnite, they do talk about gear sometimes, but they don't talk about here's how cool my gear is. They talk about here's the gear that works. Here's the gear that'll keep you dry. Let's stick a
Right.
mannequin in this jacket and drag it down the highway at 60 miles an hour. That's the stuff I want to see because it's entertaining, but it's also it's very educational.
Okay.
So I would say make the content that you like to watch. Don't replicate it, but make content that you want to see.
Okay.
So, like I said, when you go to the garage and you're working on your bike, you're doing something. Even if you're failing at it, you're doing something that other people want to know about because that's what makes you different than everyone else.
Okay.
If you go out, I saw a shock video today, and somebody sent it to me and goes, "This is so funny. Watch this." And it was somebody pouring a beer into a boot. It's a boot company that I work for, and we got these. Let me throw these boots are $185 a piece. He takes them out, sniffs them. Oh, that smells like leather. Only one thing can make this better. And he opens a beer, pours the beer into the boot, and then drinks it out of the boot. And I'm like, I feel awkward right now. I feel
Right.
improper. And he's like loving it, And I'm like, you just ruined a $200 boot, and you
Yep.
drank. You don't want to know what's in those boots when they're new. You don't, because there's things in there that you should not be putting in your body. So the whole time I'm
Ooh.
thinking this, I'm like, okay, he thought this was a cool thing to do. He's trying to be the cool dude and do awkward stuff and say awkward things. And it's like, okay, now I feel bad. I feel stupider for having watched this. I really do. So some people may love that content, but for me, it's like, okay, who's really going to watch this? A bunch of teenage kids, maybe? I don't know. Am I making am I making a video for teenage kids or am I making a video for me? And I
Right.
believe there's enough people like me in the world. There's 350 people in America, 350 million people in America, more than 350. And I believe there's at least 1 million who like the same things I do. So I'm looking for that 1 million, subscriber content follower because I want stuff that I want to produce stuff that I like that I can say I made that and I think it's funny. Now this guy may
Mm-hmm.
very well think that his stuff is funny and he might get people following him. That's for him to decide. I'm just not going to watch it. But here's the
Right.
twist: if he always makes content like that because he really does think it's funny, people are going to watch his stuff because every time you come
Mm-hmm.
back, he's going to be doing funny, weird, awkward stuff like that. And people that like that will
Right.
keep coming back to see that. If you don't really think that's funny and you're just trying to follow what somebody else did, you're eventually going to
Mm-hmm.
change your formula and you're going to start doing something different. And the people that followed you because they like to see you doing stupid things like drinking beer from a boot, now they're
Right.
like, hey, what happened to drinking beer from a boot? You don't do that anymore. What's wrong with you, man? And they'll stop watching you. If you
Yeah.
make stuff you like and you believe in and you really believe that's good, that's what you'll keep making, and the people will keep coming back because they want to see that. I know a bunch of creators who have started one way, were very successful, and then changed their formulas to something else because they thought that's what their followers wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
And their content has gone to crap, and their subscriber count has gone to crap. It's reflective of
Right.
that. People are going to follow you for what you are. And the more people, you may not get a whole lot of people following at first, but if you make good content, those numbers will go up.
Okay.
And then always put music in the background.
Right.
Never let there be a quiet moment. If you're doing a talking video and you get to a point where you're not talking and you're just using your hands and you're just showing scenery, put something in the background. People respond to noise. If it gets quiet, it puts them to sleep. Or they'll go, okay, now it's boring. So always tingle those senses, even if it's with, and your music, same way. If you use, country music, use the country music. Make the music reflect what's on screen, but don't do, spit rock one day and then death acid metal the next day and then death rap the next day. Make your stuff consistent.
Consistent for you. Okay. How long would you say that a YouTube video should be?
Your shorts should be at least 2 minutes long for shorts. Because if you're making something people want to be, again, they want to be entertained. If it's something that's over in 15 seconds and it was something successful and made people tune in, then you only just spent 15 seconds doing it. Make it a little longer. For longer videos, I try not to go over 30 minutes. Perfect for me and the people that watch my videos is between 20 and 30 minutes. Now, I put shorter ones out because, again, when you run out of content, the video writes itself. If everything you have to say is done in 15 minutes, well, that's your video. Don't try to plug it. Don't try to put extra stuff in there because it won't feel natural. But at the same time, if I've got 2 hours worth of content, I'll break it up into 30-minute chunks because you don't want to get people bored. Now, I have made videos that were really long because it was just so energetic, and it's like watching a movie that's so much action. When it's over after 3 hours, you're like, it's over already? It's only been, oh my God, that's been 3 hours. So the video will write itself. Don't try to cut it off prematurely in the middle of something that's really cool that people want to see, but also don't try to stretch it out too long. So, but between 20 and 30 minutes for me always seems like it's perfect. So,
thank you.
You are welcome. Now let's go make a video.
I think that's all the questions I had. Did any of the viewers have anything?
Let's look through. So T-Bone says Highway to Hell makes you drive through a wall. Yep. Let's see. Brandon. Oh, there. Okay. Brandon's not here. Sorry. Okay, Buck Brown says, what's the next thing you would like to add or change to your bike? Buck's infatuated with your bike. So what's the next thing you're going to put? He's an Indian guy. What's the next thing you're going to put on your bike?
I think if I do anything else to her, I'm going to put more speakers into my lowers.
Okay, so you're a speaker on the bike kind of girl.
I am. I want to be heard.
I am not. But it's personal choice. And again, I'm going to throw this back to you. You do what you like to see in other people. And it infatuates me or infuriates me to no point when you pull up to the red light and somebody thinks they've got the coolest, loudest bike there. Whether it be pipes, music, whatever. And it's like, Jesus Christ, nobody wants to hear your death spit metal rap. Come on, put that shit away. Whether it be at the gas station, in a car, or a bike. I listen to music inside my helmet. I wish everybody would. Again, cool music, that's great. Nothing against you, but turn your shit down. No,
I don't want to.
No, I get it. What's funny is my bike, I wanted just a regular Grand America, and the one they had the Texas wheels, had the Super Bose sound system on it. It had, instead of having 4 speakers on the front, it's got 8 speakers on it. It had the contoured back seat, the trunk. It had GPS ready. Sirius XM now comes on every bike. And then it had some kind of super elongated antenna. And I told them, I don't want all this stuff. I just want the regular bike. I don't care about a stereo. I don't care about Sirius XM. I don't care about all these extra speakers. I don't care about these big, stupid Texas tires. Oh, and it had the cast It had, instead of having a single bar handlebars, it had this cast frame molded thing, this monstrosity.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want that. Well, all that added an extra like $7,000 to the bike, and it was the last one they had
Oh,
in the
goodness.
showroom. And I'm like, how long would it take to get one that doesn't have all this stuff on it? And the salesman was so eager to get it off the floor, he said, I'll just take those prices. I'll just take that cost off. So I got a much more expensive bike than I actually rolled off the floor with. So I
Okay.
paid for a standard bike. I got one with all the extra super crap on it. So it's funny though that I have this super loud stereo system on it and I don't use it ever. I've turned it on one time because my headset went dead, and it still infuriated me because when you're on a bike, your 6-cylinder bike, and you're going 85 miles an hour, you can't hear it. And if you do turn it up
Yeah.
loud enough to hear, you're going deaf. So anyway, that's just me. I'm sorry. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you. Hi. What's up? How's life?
So I thought about your other question. What one thing people don't know about me? If you tell me I can't do something or tell me not to do something, I am going to do every single thing in my power to prove to you that I can do it and then rub it in your face.
I'm all for that. Buck said he doesn't have the world's fastest Indy, but it is the loudest. Here's what I'll say about any bike. I've
I
had
don't
loud
know,
bikes.
brother.
I've had loud. The pipes I like to put on my bike when you're idling, when you're just driving, they're not loud. When you dump on it, they're loud. So,
Yeah.
and there's a difference. There's a difference there. Um, what pipes is it? The Jekyll and Hyde. Um, if I did go back to big aftermarket pipes, that's what I'd want because I want to be quiet most of the time. Especially we lived in St. Louis and I had the Sabre, and it had Cobra pipes on it. And
Mm,
what I liked about those was when I was in the neighborhood in low gear, just trying to get out of the neighborhood, they were really nice and quiet. But when you dumped on that throttle, they were stupid loud. So, but you're leaving that sound behind you. You're not standing still
yeah.
going deaf. You can leave that sound behind you. So, there's a little thing. Paul's asking, are Insta360 videos any good? I have an answer for that, but I'll let you go first.
I do like the Insta 360. I will say I feel like it's kind of difficult to what do you call it? Trim and filter the videos. And like the transition and stuff is a little difficult, and finding a platform other than 360 to use to modify your video is tough.
I I answer that the same way because I've got a GoPro, I've got the Sony the hand cam, and then I've got
Mm-hmm.
the 360. I got the X2. Um, if I was to make a full video with X2, I could do it, but because you have to edit it in another set of software. You're not so I've got the
Yeah.
Premiere Pro that has the adaptive X2 software. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work perfectly, so you end up with a very
No.
botched video. So but what's funny is the Sony and the GoPros, all of them kind of format the same way. You might have to change the size of the screen a little bit, but you don't have
Yeah.
to edit it on a completely different program, publish it, save it, and then move it over and then re-edit it again. It's too many steps.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
edited just on the 360 software, I could do it. But it just adds so many
Mm-hmm.
extra steps when you have to blend it with another set of software. It just gets kind of nuts.
Yeah. It does.
Hope that answers your question. Buck has a question that's not about your Indian. Um,
What?
only one. Only one, probably. Don't hold your breath. There won't be another one. Okay. Do you ever do rides to benefit charities?
No, I have not been in any charity rides.
Okay.
I think that goes to the group rides and not being a huge fan of those too.
See, that's the only way I will do a group ride now is if it's for a charity, and I still will give everybody. So I'm a combat medic. I still carry bags, So that's my perfect excuse to stay behind everybody else, is to pick up stragglers and dead people. I mean, injured people. So I I love doing charity rides, but I'll just stay
Uh-huh.
behind everybody else. Whether it's
Right.
the toy runs that the Marine Corps does, or if it's a poker run that Harley's doing. I ride my own ride. I get away from everybody else. I do not like to ride in those big packs because they're always trouble. We have never been on a ride anywhere on a group ride that somebody hasn't been hurt, except for the Marine Corps ride. Number one, because everybody's military in that, and they're very good at following instructions. When they tell them don't pass, don't weave, stay in your formation, they do it. Military people are absolutely fantastic at that. Civilians are not. They want to prove to you how fast their bike is, how loud they can be, how cool they are, um, and then it just gets out of hand. And they have no
Mm-hmm.
patience. So, again, that's not about me. Let's make it about you. Any more questions you got for me?
I don't think so. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Okay. So if anybody else doesn't have any questions, we'll give it a couple of minutes. While we give it a couple minutes for people to throw their last minute questions up. Um,
Okay.
so tell us your final thought. What do you think? What do you think about the whole biker thing in general? Being interviewed, um, selling a
This is
bike on the
definitely
road
out
somewhere
of
in the
my
middle of nowhere.
this is definitely out of my comfort zone. I'm not a person that likes to be in the limelight like this and talking about myself so much. But I do appreciate it. It's definitely been eye-opening, and it's made me realize how much the community, the biker community, the YouTube community really goes out to help one another. And I appreciate all of you guys.
You did a great job. We still seem like we kind of ran through it. You were a great interview. Now, so again, standing offer. Now that you have the link, every Friday night we do Friday night with friends. So jump in,
Okay,
and you won't be by yourself. All the focus won't be on you,
right.
unless I make it. Unless I just point everybody towards you.
I would
Dwight's.
like to say to the people that have viewed this video or this interview, if you guys have anything that you would like to see me do a YouTube video about, like any ideas that you have, drop them in the comments and I can try to give it a go.
I'd like you to see a video on all the things you don't want anybody to know about you. What?
I could probably write a book on that one.
Dwight Smokums just stepped in. Welcome, guy. You're late, but welcome in. Paul says, so you do ride in groups. Would you rather ride in front of the group or the back of the group?
I like being behind. I like being able to see what everybody in front of me is doing.
Girl after my own heart. I do not trust people. I want everybody in front of me where I can see
I
them.
don't trust a soul.
It might be the military guy in me. I want everybody where I can see you because you're a bunch of shifty bastards, and I need to see where you're going and what you're doing. So, absolutely. And that also gives the fast guy, the guys that want to speed and be stupid, that gives them somewhere else to get fast and be stupid at. Not near me, in front of me. Just get them away from me.
Right.
Regular traffic's that way too. If somebody's getting really stupid with me, I either want to pass them or get out of the way and let them get somewhere else so they can go bug somebody else. Because
Yeah,
they're gonna kill
exactly.
somebody else. Let them not be around me. They're gonna die and burn in a ditch. Let them do it somewhere else. I have no problem with that.
Right.
Buck says thanks Tiff, and thanking me for having Tiff on to introduce herself to everyone. If nobody knows, Buck Brown's the one that threw me up to you. Do you know Buck? Do you know that guy?
Yeah,
You know what?
not personally. He
I wouldn't admit it
probably
either.
one of my. He subscribed to my channel a long time ago. Like when I first started the channel, he was one of my first subscribers.
No kidding. It's because you had an Indian.
Yeah, probably
If you
so.
didn't have an Indian, you wouldn't have a chance. I'm so sorry. So, but you've been a wonderful, wonderful guest. So, everyone, thanks for coming. And like always, if you can be anything, be nice. You never know what someone else is going through. So pick on them lightly, especially if they ride an Indian, because we all know the Indian is a subpar. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I love Polaris. I really do. Like I said, I've owned one, and I would get another one in a heartbeat if they would just bring their damn prices down. But until then, let's get an exit song going here. What do you want to hear?
You choose.
You have no clue what I've got over here. So let's see. Let's go with the normal Riverside porno song. All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. Don't forget, Friday night with friends, 7 p.m. Central Time. So come on out and join the fun. And if you've ever been on the channel and you have a link, get in. We're going to have some fun. All right, Tiff, tell everybody good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Later on, everybody.